In an interview with The Hill, Democratic presidential candidate and avowed socialist Bernie Sanders said China had done more to address extreme poverty than any country in history. Listen.
But what we have to say about China, in fairness to China and its leadership, is, if I'm not mistaken, they have made more progress in addressing extreme poverty than any country in the history of civilization. Okay, so they've done a lot of things for their people.
He's right. According to the World Bank, the number of poor in China went from 880 million in 1981 to less than 10 million. But I wonder how they did that. Well, the Chinese socialists killed millions of poor people, so there's that. Dead people aren't poor, just dead. They called that the Great Leap Forward. And after that, they used the tool that Bernie despises, capitalism. I wish there was a visual metaphor for Bernie's argument. Just have to keep watching that. I don't know why. Anyway, it was only after China rigorously adopted free market principles, private ownership, decentralization, that they transformed their economy from a house of horrors to something much more humane. The stuff that saved 1 billion lives in China may be the things Bernie thinks has harmed our country. The lesson: those who scream about inequality embrace ideas that create only more inequality. By replacing equal opportunity with equal outcome, you end up with two classes, the poor and the powerful, which happened in China and seems to be happening in San Fran, L.A., and Baltimore, too. Of course, China went whole communist, resulting in mass murder, religious persecution, forced abortion of female babies, and famine. The number of dead in China under Mao has to be counted in the tens of millions. So, yeah, praise is in order for China finally coming around to abandoning bad ideas. Maybe Bernie should do the same. Dana, you were very, very excited about this topic today because it bothered you what he said.
It did, and then I listened to your monologue, and I look at the things I wrote down, and I think, I might have been sitting next to you for many years because I don't feel like I have too much other things to add. When Bernie Sanders says China has done a lot for its people, I thought, no, it's to its people. And the idea that they put in, this sort of quasi-capitalism, what's happened is that they've created this middle class. And it's a huge middle class. And we should want to sell them a lot of things because they have money to buy. But one of the things that's upsetting to them is that there's no rule of law and they don't have private property rights. So then what do you have happen? They would like to take their capital and move it someplace else. Where do you think they want to put it?
Right,
They want to put it in the United States because it's safe and you have rule of law. And I would love to have somebody in the United States actually stand up for the human rights problems. Like Bernie Sanders doesn't talk about that at all in the interview. And I think that he agrees with President Trump on being tough on China regarding trade. But other than that, I don't see how the Democrats are actually differentiating themselves from President Trump at all on China. The president, however, has started, remember at the State of the Union, what did he say? The United States will never be a socialist country. And that was his opening salvo to differentiate himself against the Democrats. And the Democrats don't seem to be doing anything to stop that.
It seems like they're just moving leftward, Juan. Leftward and leftward and leftward.
Well,
that's not even a question. I admit it.
Well, I'm glad you admit it. Because otherwise it would be very Chinese and authoritarian of you. But I must say that I think Bernie is speaking against the heavy-handed use of tariffs, which is driving the whole economy to the verge of recession and damaging the Chinese economy. So what he's saying is there is an opportunity, I think he's saying, for closer ties between the U.S. and China, that we don't have to somehow demonize them as all evil and terrible, and if it's not Jay Powell at the Federal Reserve, then it's, the Chinese president as our enemy. I think he's trying to get out of that mindset. But I thought you were exactly right when you talked about how China has made progress. I mean, to my mind, maybe you're even giving too much credit to the Chinese government, because I think it's after Mao, after the revolution, after the re-education camps and the torture and the murder, that then you see the Chinese people start to rise up with the opportunity to employ free market ideas like property, like investment, bringing in American companies. But to me, it's still the case, and you can see it from the news we have today about Hong Kong and about the protest. You can see it in terms of no free press. You can see it and understand it in terms of repression, how they treat the Muslim minority there in China, that the Chinese government is still to me, heavy-handed and authoritarian.
Yeah.
So I would give them credit for, I think what did it say, 3/4 of the reduction in global poverty over the last 20 years has been in China.
Right.
Tremendous. But I think Bernie is speaking less about that, actually, than he is about, hey, why can't we work with China instead of, and this speaks to Dana's point, instead of using these tariffs in a way that is not to our advantage, because it's hurting our economy, it's hurting Germany's economy, it's hurting China's economy.
All right, Jason.
I would love to see Bernie Sanders get on an airplane and make that speech in Hong Kong. Because
that'd be powerful.
Come on. They continue to praise these communist countries. If he wasn't praising China, he was praising Venezuela. If he wasn't praising Venezuela, he was praising Russia. He's a leader of the Democratic Party. He's not even in the Democratic Party. He's a democratic socialist. And what he has got to understand, and the difference between what he's doing and Donald Trump and everybody else is doing, is showing the positive things of capitalism. Yes, it can be better, but it has lifted more people up out of poverty, provided more wealth in the history of the world than anything else. And yet he can't bring himself to actually giving capitalism the credit it deserves.
What do you think, Emily? You hate capitalism.
I just think Bernie is such a farce, you guys. At a time when Hong Kong is being squashed, and he comes on the interview and he says, you have to make a very strong statement for democracy and for human rights, and of course this administration isn't. And then, of course, though, we've heard nothing about the Uyghur concentration camps. I wonder, under Bernie's administration, would he recognize Taiwan as a country? Would he? There's so much that he has failed to address that China represents. He ignored or kind of shot down the existential threat question as well. I mean, why aren't we hearing from him his position on China's stated purpose of nuclear and trade power on their random presence on the Arctic Circle Council? You know, every 5 years, the president of China gives a political report, right? And in 2017, President Jinping did. And 30 times he said China will be a global power. He stressed that they wanted to improve their combat capability or whatever. And he also said, we will never swallow the bitter fruit of downgrading our interests for a purpose of someone else's benefit. So for Bernie to go out there publicly and say they are not a threat to us or that they won't put themselves first and ignore all the other human rights violations is, again, it's such a joke to me.
Well, I think we pounded that segment into the ground.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.